Bem-vindos à Reação Gringa versão virtual de quarentena. Hoje tem MULAN, tem Moana, tem a Pequena Sereia, tem mais porque é Gringos Reagem a Músicas da Disney, cantada em português, parte 2. We're back for more Disney songs in Portuguese. So we're going to play you some songs that you probably know, but in their Portuguese version. So we want to know, does the person's voice sound like the person's voice from the English version? Are the lyrics the same? Do they do a good job basically recreating the feeling of the song? And you will see subtitles with the lyrics translated literally into English. So you will be basically reading the Portuguese lyrics.
Wow, he's good.
He's catchy. Yeah, this guy could sing. He's got that soulful vocals. I like that.
He's got a lovely voice.
All right, we got a little interjection of the concert in live with the animated people behind it, which, by the way, I could watch any concert if you had an animated movie running behind it. It doesn't matter who the singer's.
Yeah, I see it in your eyes too, Ed Malta.
I'm just like, I think this is fantastic. His voice is amazing. I have goose pimples.
Because in my heart you will always be, which sorta, that's not as good. My love for you will continue in my heart. This feels like it's somebody describing a heart issue. Look, that might be love for me in my heart, but my doctor thinks I should have it checked out anyway.
Yeah, this is fun. This guy could sing.
I mean, this is way better. This is just way better.
The good thing about that one is that it had the same theme. It just sort of was a little choppier. But the great thing about the sound of the Portuguese dialect is just a very nice, it's a very pleasant sound. So even when the words themselves are a little clunky poetically,
I like it because the song just seems like a really good classic love song as opposed to a Disney movie. And his voice was beautiful. I was just like, totally, I would go to a concert and listen to him serenade me and make me happy.
Wow, what a beautiful voice. I've got to listen to more of his stuff. I think the lyrics was pretty similar.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. It's not that deep of a song in English. It's pretty almost cheesy in a way in the lyrics.
So I would actually go to see this dude play right now. That was good. I liked it a lot better.
So you've become a sudden Ed Malta fan?
I didn't know who Ed Malta was until now, but yeah, I'm going straight to Spotify. I'm gonna check him out.
You know what I realized as I was seeing this clip that I wasn't aware of how Tarzan got into the jungle. I never really knew. I guess I just sort of seen comic books and he's already there.
yeah, I know. I mean, that's really the story. I mean, nobody really paid attention to him when he had a ascot on, but once you drop the ascot and you're just in a loincloth, people are like, you know what? What do you do for your abs? What do you do for those lower abs? You know, people want to know your story.
I just want to say that I want to see him and Phil Collins link up and do this. And every other sentence be the other language.
Oh.
So it's just mega confusing, but it'd be a lot of fun.
I like it.
All right, Ariel is the same name for sure.
Oh, the voice of the little lobster guy's spot on.
Here at the bottom, you have perhaps even too many comforts. That's accurate. It's prettier in English though.
They still have water in Brazil. That's cool. It still has the same water.
Under the sea.
Yeah, this singer's on point, and the lyrics are fine. I like it. I also have Portuguese lyrics going. I don't know how to use technology.
Where I'm from, it's wetter. I'm not sure how that's possible, but
Under the sea, where I was born, where I grew up. Oh, that's very literal.
It's funny because the word sounds like under the sea, but what he's saying is, it's like, look, we're at the bottom, which is much more of a political statement. It's like, look, we're the disenfranchised. Chill out and let billionaires give themselves tax breaks.
I guess it's something that, look, all sea creatures can get along, no matter whether they speak Portuguese or English.
Tin drums underwater, of course, they sound the same. I've always been curious about that. She's still a cute little mermaid, I gotta say. As a young kid, I mean, that's probably your first bikini you might see. I think that's, a nice introduction.
I mean, I feel like not knowing Portuguese is better for that song because it sounds amazing, comforting and soothing. And if you know the actual English song, it's actually, you're like, oh, that sounds sweet. And then you listen to the words or find out the words and you're like, oh, this is more like, hey, chill out. Try not, don't rock the boat.
I haven't seen it in a while, but I feel like it was spot on.
It's a little more intense than the original, or the English, I shouldn't say original, Ariel. They're a little bit more fun-loving in the English version. This one is very intense in a sense that they're frying up fish.
I hate to say this, the lyrics in English are, under the sea, nobody beat us, fry us, and eat us.
And I loved Ariel growing up. This goes back to the kid thing, where you don't really realize what anyone's saying until you're older.
Under the sea, darling, it's better, down where it's wetter, take it from me. I think the lyrics, that's better in English.
It's much more of a, hey, we're in the water, we have our own world. It's more like, hey, stay in your world. This is in the translation. It's almost like, hey, chill out.
Okay, so kind of like with the first one, and because this was released in '94, I think it might have been, because we talked about this last time where the lyrics, it seems like they might have come to a conclusion where they need to be able to translate into multiple languages. But I think this one, Under the Sea, it has so many amazing nuances where in listening to it as like a 30-year-old, I'm like, wow, like this is such a good song.
These are cool lines in the American lyrics, like, while we devoting full time to floating under the sea.
Oh yeah, and he's also like Jamaican or something too. So that's a
Good
whole
point.
Like, he's like that, man. He talk like that.
The reggae version in the English version, I think way better. I gotta say, way better. I mean,
The only thing that's different, by the way, is the guy's voice.
the voice was just way better. It was like, hey, come down to the bottom of the sea.
He's a Jamaican crustacean.
And I noticed you got caught up in the under the sea, when the words weren't under the sea. But the amazing thing is both the lyrics actually had the word sea. It was Onde Cresci, which is where I grew up. And so that sounds like under the sea.
Where
Onde
I grew
Cresci.
up, where I live.
That was pretty clever of them to have the word sea in it, even though it's just a syllable of another word that doesn't
I would
mean
argue the lyric matters less than the rhythm in that song's chorus, 100% of the time. Honestly, it's so hard to find something that rhymes with sea, but they did it. A genius. I gotta say, I don't love animated movies, but this song, it gets to me.
I mean, so far this is perfect, isn't it?
Good voice for sure. The voice in the English version is also very good.
The Horizon asked me to go so far, so they called the line where the sky meets the sea.
The horizon.
They're like, you know what? We're gonna make this a little more scientific. We're gonna try to appease our scientific Disney community.
That's right.
The lyrics are spot on to I think what the real one is. The English is like really well done on this because I think they nailed the complete essence of the song. Spot on.
I always come back to the water. Isn't that the same in English? And I love that they're talking about the water. If the waves really opened up for me, I'll go with the wind if I go. This is close. I don't know for sure how far I'll go. That's really close to the English version.
It's amazing how they've matched the music so perfectly, even though it was created in English.
So I would play this music right now, like on a sunny day. This is a good song. This is great.
This one was probably the most poetically translated between the two languages. The words, even in English, it was like, oh, that's sort of a nice way to say that. Even, I mean, it helps that horizon is the scientific word. I mean, that's a pretty easy scientific word. It's very soothing.
So from my knowledge of Moana, that was like of the songs that we've listened to so far, the translations have been the closest that I've seen so far.
So the concept was the same. I think the vocabulary was a little bit different, but it was also very sweet.
This is like the Hawaiian version of that Frozen song.
That's a good comment.
Just gonna start watching all the Brazilian Disney movies.
Pretty much any time. You are really tearing up. Look at you.
Oh yeah.
Come on, fight. Wow, these are some goofy warriors. They're so concerned about having a woman. These guys look like idiots.
I love the story that this song tells, with her like being weak and then figuring out how to overcome this obstacle.
You're weak and have no skills. Oh, that's different.
The lyrics so far are exact, and the rhyming's exact.
The Portuguese translation is much more of a somebody encouraging you.
You're worthless as soldiers, stupid and skillless. Ugh. I feel like it's a lot better in English.
I think this is just like the real lyrics, just saying like, you guys are terrible, you suck, but I'm gonna make a man out of you. I'll improve you.
You know, again, pretty classic misogynistic section going on here, you know. Keeping down the girls of the world. Better watch out.
The singing was spot on, and from what I remember, that's exactly what that song was, a great training montage.
Well, you know, the one thing that is a little different is they're even harsher in English. You're a spineless, pale, pathetic lot, and you haven't got a clue. Somehow I'll make a man out of you.
Well, you know what? The Huns are tough. You can't be throwing pathetic, spineless lots in there. You need like real tough men or a real tough woman pretending to be a man, because we won't let her in our army.
From the English version that I know, I love the English version. The Portuguese that I was reading, I was just kind of like, it's okay.
I almost like this version better. It's kinder. The one in English is kind of intense. But yeah, it's pretty similar. The concept is pretty similar.
This is talking about how, look, I think we can make you into something. I'm just not sure how. That's the real English. And the other one's like, look, there's fire, there's moonlight. How are you not inspired?
So did you find the lyrics uplifting?
I don't think so, not from what I recall. I mean, I like the song. I wasn't as uplifted. I wasn't as wouldn't have gone to battle with that dude.
The translation from English to Portuguese is like a translation of a drill sergeant's first speech on the first day of boot camp to soldiers, as translated into a Harlequin romance novel.
Know what it is?
My Fair Lady.
Nope.
Oh my gosh, Mary Poppins.
The one who floats up in the air.
Here we go, Mary Poppins.
Excellent work. Oh, I know this song.
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins.
That word is so hard to pronounce. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Nailed it.
I didn't know if superfragilocalisticexpialidocious could be translated.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Well, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious if you want to be technical.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, translated into Portuguese, is the greatest thing that will happen to me this year.
It's so fast.
I will say that Dick Van Dyke was criticized for his British accent, but whoever's translating him here, good job.
It's funny you bring that up because I just watched it to remind myself of it, and it's true. That is quite an accent he has in the original.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, you're just like, well, look, you're a superstar, and they needed you to sell this movie. Good job getting your money.
I think it's the same exact song in either language. It's a made-up word to begin with.
They do change the ending just so that it rhymes. Do you remember what supercalifragilisticexpialidocious rhymes with in the original song?
It wasn't precocious? Because that's pretty
precocious is one of them, but they say, even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious.
Oh, yeah, but that's just mean. It doesn't sound atrocious at all. It's kind of a fun word that I don't think we use enough. It's just kind of long to write out.
I'm so impressed with them because it's so fast, and I was like just trying to read the lines. I'm like, wait, what are they saying? What are they saying? But I thought they had a lot of like sweet translations with it.
Pretty similar. It's just nicer and gentler to listen to.
I think if you could show the clip of the Portuguese supercalifragilistic song just to the world right now, I think that would help everybody a lot. It would just, everybody would go, you know what? Maybe we can band together and agree on stuff and beat this thing. You know, maybe that's all we need, is just to all sing a song together.
This is a song I would never want to hear outside of like being tortured in a dungeon, but it does sound exactly the same in Portuguese, I have to say, and please never play that again.
You have any thoughts on like the fact that there's a whole other, every country or every language group around the world kind of sees a different version of Disney?
I'll put it this way, like, you know, when they make a movie, making a movie is tough enough, but then they're going to have to make like 50 different versions of the same movie and over. And I got to say, like, look, we've only explored one language of this, but they were really close. They made sure they kept the point of the story commentary and the like the rhythm and vocals of the singing on, which is like really tough to do.
It emphasizes how much the music is way more important than the words. I mean, look, there's some very poetic ways that both of them have been translated, and it slightly changes the meaning, and you are going to see it, and it does move the plot along from a writing standpoint. But, you know, to be honest, you give me, instead of Phil Collins singing Tarzan, I don't care if you give me more plot in that song if you've got Billy Ray Cyrus singing it instead.
I think that because all of our languages, we have different words to describe things. I know because I was raised in Nepal, so I have words that I was raised on that sound different and mean different things than they do in English that can't translate. So I feel like it's the only way to really go about it unless you like actually use English. It's a little bit harder to translate something that doesn't have meaning in English.
I love that. I feel like that's actually a really deep question because it goes to the point where we as people assume that we're speaking about the same thing when in fact we have a completely, potentially very different understanding of what it is that we're speaking to, though at its heart, or maybe either at its heart or at its surface level, it's the same. I would say at its surface level it's the same, but its heart might be different. I think that's really important right now, especially with all of the world affairs going on. People think they know what they're talking about because they're using the same words, but at its heart, the issues might be different. And so it's really important for us to reach across borders and to connect and to clarify.